Was that? Oh, you're talking about Ron Jeremy.
Oh my God.
You have no idea.
You know, Billy Connolly's jokes aren't the punchline though. It's like the middle shit that's funny. You know, like he'll start with the funniest shit on the set was driving to work in the van. I mean, Billy Connolly would start a story like, I was in the Hyatt Regency in London, and I looked over and Mick Jagger was sitting next to David Bowie, and David Bowie, you know, he was jerking Mick off. And I'm like, whoa, back up to that part. Back up to the part where David Bowie and Mick were what the fuck? And that wasn't even the point of the story. The point of the story was like what they ordered for room service or some shit.
He had this one thing. He was talking about a friend of his was doing a performance art piece or something, and he was making those communion wafers, right, that were out of cookies, and he was going to call him, I can't believe it's not Jesus. I mean, he's hysterical. He's really funny.
It really is. That cat's funny, and a genuinely good dude too.
The ladies love Billy.
Oh God. Yes.
Fuck no. Right on.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, explicatives I think are necessary. You tell me. Guys in the audience, okay? Guys, tell me which one of these chicks is hotter. God, I met this really, really gorgeous chick. She's pretty hot, right? What about this? I met this fucking gorgeous chick. One's a fucking runway model. One's like, you throw a leg over it, but right? It's necessary. Who's next? Yes.
How is it working with Willem Dafoe, and how hard is it to keep a straight face using dread?
A straight face when
he's in drag.
Oh.
Wait, I gotta tell you a story. Okay, you know, in the police room, when we're saying all the different languages, I couldn't remember my fucking languages. I was getting them all mixed up. But the camera would go in a 360 around us. But every time it went behind Willem, he'd go and mess me up to the point where I was like, cut it out. He just thought it was funny. So if you look really carefully, I go like this, and I'm reading that on cue cards above his head. But I gotta tell you this story. In New York, I'm putting my key in my door. This is how dope Willem is. I'm putting my key in my door, and middle of the day, and I turn around and hear this, Norman. I look around, there's this one homeless guy walking like this, right? I don't know that guy. Put the key back in the door. Norman, same guy. Finally, he turns around and he goes, it's Willem. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And he goes, oh, I'm doing this movie, Shadow of a Vampire. I'm playing a vampire. So he's walking around Soho in New York in the middle of the day with all the shoppers like this. Like, that's how cool that guy is.
You know, he's got two versions of his method acting, Willem. Like, that's one of them. The one that I saw on Boondock is like, he always would rehearse one line. We'd be out at dinner ordering pizza, and he just rehearsed this line constantly. The waiter'd be up there, what can I get you? And he'd look over at me and go, fag. Like, randomly, in craft service, we're standing at the table. Fag. So see, he's serious sometimes, and he's just a hoot the other times. Yes?
There is an awesome picture circulating on the internet of the two of you in a movie theater shooting a cardboard cutout of Edward Norton.
Yes.
Edward Cullen from...
It's
Is that real?
yeah, but it's not a movie theater. It's at MTV Studios in New York, he's probably a really nice guy. I feel kind of bad, but that was just there in the MTV Studios, and we just decided to assassinate it.
You know, we had to do it because, I mean, the guy could probably buy us 12 times over. Yes.
Okay, so right after the first movie came out, it was actually banned because of the Columbine incident. There's this huge concern in our country about violent films, violent video games influencing not only children but everyone. How do you guys feel about that? And do you think about it when you're on set doing sort of like the more violent scenes? Do you think
No.
I've killed somebody
No,
in
I think
every
there needs
single
to be
thing
some
I've ever
accountability
done.
in the world. I think if a kid goes and sees a movie and kills somebody, he wasn't fucking raised right. It's a bottom line. There's no mom and dad out there that did an efficient job that their children that's been raised properly goes and sees a fucking movie and kills somebody.
Or a
Get the
video
fuck
game.
out of here with that shit. The pussification of America ends today. Yes, ma'am.
Talking about how it didn't get the immediate release. Are you amazed at the response?
Yes.
It got, and then it was given that it was not immediate.
I didn't expect it to be this big, and it's kind of like the people's movie, you know. It's like they pass it to friends, and it's you know, to be in a cult film, you know. I've heard Sean talk about it too. It's quite an honor, you know.
It is, you know, it's like, for those of you out there that, you know, I grew up and I was really into music my whole life, still am, you know, it's like when you find a band that really moves you, like moves you so much you keep on going, you know, and you want to turn your friends onto it. But like, if there's somebody that you don't like, you know, with Boondock, it was the same way. Boondock, friends would go, okay, I gotta call my buddy Mike, and Mike shows up with Derek, and you're like, Mike, you gotta watch, you know what, I'll give it to you after Derek leaves. You know what I mean? It's like that. You know what I mean? He ain't good enough to watch this movie. But Mike, you can check it out. But fuck Derek, you know, he's fucking a little sketchy. It's kind of like that, and that gives it just more credibility. It's an honor to be a part of something like that. It floors me to this day that it had legs on its own, because without marketing is such a crucial part of the success or failure of a film. The fact that it did it without it, I mean, literally, Blockbuster, there's 2 copies. A week later, there was 8. It was like that, you know, Fabergé organic shampoo, and they tell it for 2 friends, and they tell 2 friends, so on and so on. That's the shit that happened. It cut to like 6 months later, there's like a wall of Boondock Saints videos. It was just bizarre.
Yeah, I remember being in LA and going to a Blockbuster one time. Just someone told me to go, and it was an entire wall of Boondock Saints stuff, and you know, we had just finished it, so it's like I was pretty blown away.
Blockbuster's gone, you guys are still here.
That's right. Woo! Screw those guys.
Let me just say this. How do you fuck that up? How do you fuck that up? How do you sit there and go, no, let's keep these stores here. The internet, that's just a passing fad. That guy is a CEO of a fucking Fortune 500 company. That's the people out there that are running shit? That motherfucker was that short-sighted? Wow. Yes, ma'am.
First time I saw Boondock Saints was actually my first philosophy lecture, so I just wanted to tell you that.
Your first what?
Philosophy lecture.
I thought you were gonna say you lost your virginity.
Yes, and it was very gentle.
How long have you known each other, and how did you?
We knew each other before Boondock 1.
Yeah, but how long?
We met because I can't really tell that story, but we met before Boondock 1.
How long before?
Quite a bit, a few, 3 years maybe. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
This is for all 3 of you. What's the weirdest or most impressive fan encounter you've ever had?
Wow.
The weirdest one I had is
Some of them are here.
yeah. I was at a 7-Eleven and I just got done training. I'm wringing wet, and I was getting a Gatorade. And it was Halloween, and the place where I train is right in Boys Town. It's where a lot of our gay friends hang out. And this dude was in there, and he was all dressed up for Halloween, and he was bald, white paint everywhere. He had a jacket on, forks and spoons glued to him, a fedora, the glasses, and I'm like, got by my Gatorade, and I was like, oh shit, oh. And literally, I looked at him, I'm like, hey, good costume. Who are you? And he goes, obviously you haven't seen the film, and he pranced out. I thought, fuck yeah, brother, right on, man. That's the one that I remember.
Geez, I've been in Istanbul with no one around and had somebody walk up and tackle me. I was in Costa Rica in the jungle in a tiny little like river waterfall thing, and no one's around, just like not one person. All of a sudden, these 2 guys come out of the Boondock Saints, you know. I just the most random places. I've been in customs line coming back into the country, taking forever, and the guy's giving me a hard time, and somebody's like, "That's so and so," and I'm like, you know, trying to tell him who I am. Doesn't listen to me. I had a 6'2" albino on the streets of New York grab me and go, that movie Boondock Saints, that gun you were using, that's such a cool gun, I'm gonna get it. And I'm like, well, which gun? There's a whole bunch of guns. And he goes, the one on the tripod. And I go, what are you gonna do, shoot elephants with that thing? And he got super mad, started yelling at me and cussed me out walking down the street. Just random stuff, yeah.
What about you, Rock?
I think it's like a lot of, I think it's funny whenever I go somewhere and you see the tattoos. For some reason, there's like a lot of tattoos around. You know, you're in line in the grocery store, stuff like that. But one time I don't know where it was, but somebody said that, you know, you look like the guy in Boondock Saints. And I said, yeah, I am. And so then it was like, nah. I go, no, and I should have just let it go and say, I'm only kidding. I'm pretending? What the fuck? But it's like he said, well, what are the lines? Say that line and the thing. So I'm going over lines to the movie with this guy, trying to convince him it's me.